Hello and welcome to This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm Christopher Holder. On this week's presentation, we bring you a feature that looks at the Guyana School of Agriculture and the plans as outlined by Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa in terms of where he wants to see the Guyana School of Agriculture positioned going forward, the steps that will be taken to achieve this. And we will also hear from the CEO of the Guyana School of Agriculture and the lady in charge of the Guyana School of Agriculture's agro-processing facility there. You've seen the brand GSA Foods in supermarkets across the country, and this is a brand that has gained significant recognition. This is a aspect of the Guyana School of Agriculture. Basically, it's a one-year training program that is offered as part of the curriculum for those persons opting for training in agro-processing. And over the years, the products that were produced by the students was marketed, and it was marketed under the brand GSA Foods. And now that brand is established, so it is something that will continue to grow going forward. And so now a number of things are happening. GSA Foods, or the agro-processing aspect of the Guyana School of Agriculture, is now open to members of the public who are desirous of having some training in agro-processing. So we'll hear all about that in this week's presentation of This Week in Agriculture.
I started the Guyana School of Agriculture in September 2017, and I completed a course in the Diploma in Agriculture course 2019 of July. These past few years have been very remarkable to me. I would have learned a lot in terms of agriculture. I learned a lot about myself and my way of dealing with others. This school would have taught me a lot in terms of agriculture, whereas there is a lot of fields where I would have studied, gained a lot of knowledge in different areas, such as entomology, would have done hydrometeorology courses. I would have learned a lot extensively about livestock, since I've worked over almost all the holidays on the livestock farm, gaining more knowledge than what would have taught in the class or in the normal farm practicals in the mornings. I'd recommend any youngster who is interested in the agriculture field to join the Guyana School of Agriculture. It helps you to be more effective in your future studies, and also it prepares you for adulthood in terms of being a better man or a better woman.
The Ministry of Agriculture is warning members of the public that it is illegal to dump garbage of any kind near to or into drainage and irrigation waterways across the country. The NDIA, the agency tasked with the maintenance of drainage and irrigation in Guyana, has noted that there is an alarming increase in the incidence of garbage getting into DNI waterways and causing blockages in the first instance. But worse than that, the garbage that includes clothing, rotting carcasses, pieces of wood and metal gets past protective grills of the critical mobile and fixed pumps, resulting in damage to the pumps, which have to be taken out of service for repairs, placing communities at risk, especially during the rainy season. The Ministry of Agriculture notes that when this happens, millions have to be spent on repairs to the pumps and on clearing the canals of debris thrown there by irresponsible citizens. The ministry warns that rangers of the NDIA will be on the lookout for those engaging in this illegal practice. Persons caught will be made to face the full force of the law. A message from the NDIA Ministry of Agriculture. The National Agriculture Agricultural Research and Extension Institute offers specialized services to Guyana's crop farmers. We conduct research and provide extension and quarantine services to ensure Guyana's food and nutrition security, sustainable agricultural development, and income generation for our farmers. We assist farmers to adapt climate-smart technologies, and at a subsidized cost, farmers could now purchase shade plastic, shade mesh, and irrigation sprinklers to avoid crop loss from the effects of climate change. Our organic soil enhancers are inexpensive and a viable alternative to imported brands. Farm certification, import and export permits for agricultural commodities, soil testing, pest and disease management, among other services, are provided free of cost. Farmers can access quality planting citrus material at our 9 plant nursery locations. We are working with Hope Estate and other stakeholders to resuscitate the coconut industry. For more information, visit our website or call us on telephone number 220-2841, 220-5730. The Guyana School of Agriculture is set to reformat its curriculum to cater for the technical and other needs of the agriculture sector locally, regionally, and internationally. According to Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, the Guyana School of Agriculture has been serving to train young Guyanese in the field of agriculture for more than 4 decades, offering diploma and certificate programs in several disciplines. The minister said his ministry, and by extension the government, intends to reposition the GSA as the premier institution for training of youngsters in various disciplines in the agriculture sector. A critical aspect of this is the curriculum. This, he said, will be revamped and modernized. In addition, the operation of the GSA will be decentralized with satellite operations set up in other regions.
For GSA, what we have been doing over the years, I think that GSA was not fulfilling its mandate, so to speak, especially over the last 5 years. I am now looking at, as I said, we have a new board of directors. That board is headed by Dr. Dindial Permal, former permanent secretary. And I am looking at the curriculum at GSA to suit the needs of the Ministry of Agriculture. I'm also looking to expand GSA, take it to the various regions. You know for a fact that many persons who want to come to the GSA because of traveling distance and they have to live out from their home, they are reluctant. Now I'm looking to take a branch of the GSA to the University of Guyana, by John's there campus. The principal there, the CEO of GSA, Mr. Greenage, he is in discussion with the authority there, and hopefully later on this year, we can have that branch there. But I am looking to revamp the entire curriculum. I have spoken to the board of directors so that the curriculum can reflect the needs of the Ministry of Agriculture. You know for a fact also, I have been having meetings with my counterparts around the Caribbean, and they are also requesting that they will want their students to come to study at the Guyana School of Agriculture, because the Guyana School of Agriculture has a good reputation around the Caribbean, and many persons within the Caribbean came to the Guyana School of Agriculture and would have studied here. So I think that we have to ensure that we reflect the needs of the agriculture sector, not only in Guyana, but across the Caribbean.
According to Minister Mustafa, the agro-processing aspect of the GSA's curriculum will also be streamlined and the GSA Foods brand promoted. This, he said, will be a collaboration between the GSA and the New Guyana Marketing Corporation, GMC, providing training not only for the students attending the institution, but all interested in furthering their knowledge in the field of agro-processing.
As I said, that I am looking to revamp and ensure that we satisfy the needs of the ministry. And when we talk about the Ministry of Agriculture, we don't mean rice, and we don't mean fisheries or cattle and things like that. This ministry is a large ministry, you know that. We have various sectors. So the agencies within the ministry are working very closely. So in the agro-processing part, the UGMC and the Guyana School of Agriculture would have to work very closely, because what we are doing now, we are looking to make agro-processing facilities, build these facilities around the country. We are looking to build one on the east coast of Demerara by Hope. We are looking for a building in Region 10 to get an agro-processing facility there. We already have one in Puerto Rico in Region 3. We are looking for one in Region 2, and I'm hoping that we can build one in Region 6 by Adventure Blackbush area there. So what we'll have to do, we'll have to train a number of persons. We'll have to train farmers, how they can package their produce and things like that. So the new GMC, Guyana School of Agriculture, and other agencies too, NARI, they will have to work very closely, and I've been meeting with them together since I became Minister of Agriculture, and I think that this kind of relation and interaction amongst these agencies, it's looking very good, and they are collaborating and working together.
Since the advent of COVID in March last year and the subsequent regulations which forced closure of all learning institutions, the business of learning at the institution has had to be shifted to a virtual platform. But while there have been some disruptions, students have been adjusting well to the new COVID reality affecting how life and living is conducted. Mr. Brian Greenidge is the Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana School of Agriculture. I visited the institution for a first-hand look at how things are under this new virtual dispensation. Mr. Greenidge gave an overview of the courses offered at the institution.
We offer currently at the school 5 programs: the Diploma and Certificate in Agriculture, the Diploma in Animal Health and Veterinary Public Health, the Certificate in Forestry, and the Certificate in Agro-Processing. Or you may be aware that of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected everyone. We haven't been spared, but what we have done is that we have had to move our delivery of our programs to the online mode. So we are not having that actual face-to-face delivery as was done previously. All the programs are done, all our teaching is done online. All our lecturers are provided with Zoom accounts so that they can connect with the students.
The GSA had also disclosed that even the recent admission protocols were conducted virtually.
All the interviews, all applications, they were done online. All registrations, they were done online. So we don't have to have much contact with people. And anything we do, we try to observe all the COVID-19 guidelines that have been put out by our national COVID-19 task force. So we try as much as possible to be meeting those guidelines, adhering to those guidelines.
I wondered about the practical aspect of the curriculum. How was this being conducted in a virtual reality?
COVID has affected our practical programs, and we have adapted also to get those done. In terms of the farms, what we have done is to place the students in small groups and have each of them work with lecturers. The lecturers will assign tasks to them and will follow them with their work online, so they can see what work is being done. And at the end of the term, the students will produce their farm diaries, and they will have those diaries marked. At the beginning of this term here, we would have had one program which has about 8 students, which are brought back to the school, because the program for this term is has to do with a lot of practical aspects, a lot of practical training. So we brought them back here. But before we brought them here, we brought in the task force so that they could advise us how we should proceed before we bring them back. So the task force would have come in, did their inspections, did their sanitizing, and conducted tests here before we brought them back, and gave us a general advice on how we should proceed.
Mr. Greenidge also outlined the protocols that have been implemented to govern the conduct of exams, both end-of-term and final exams.
We have developed what we call an e-platform, or GSA e-platform, on which we administer our examinations. So the exams are set there, and they come up. The students, they're timetabled. So the students will go on at a particular time, and all exams will have a period with which they run. So if the exam starts at 10 and it's a 2 hour exam, you go in there from 10, you do your exams, and the exam ends at 12, which is 2 hours after. And then you can get your results as soon as you hit the submit button. So we have tried that. That's one of the things we have done, developing an e-platform, and that where we can specifically run our exams, among other things.
Mr. Oscar Glasgow is the Director of Academic Affairs at the Guyana School of Agriculture and lectures on economics. I asked for his take on the virtual form of teaching that is now the new norm.
It's not really bad. Our students, if we ask them, they're going to say that they're willing to return to school. They don't like the idea of being behind a screen throughout the day. For us, the little difference comes with you just looking at a screen, and in some cases, students are not turning the camera on. They're of the view that if they turn the camera off, then they save on data, something of that sort. So they keep it off for the greater part of the lesson. And I think that's about the major difference. Apart from that, it's normal to me.
Speaking to the role of the Guyana School of Agriculture, Mr. Greenwich posited that the way the curriculum is structured is to ensure the students are exposed firsthand to the business of agriculture.
Well, this institution, we do both the theory and practical aspects of agriculture. So we have our farms, crop and livestock farms, and we have our processing facility. Now we're in the business. Agriculture is a business. So it has to be run as a business. And that is what we want to teach the students. You come here, you get that training, you see what is being done, you see that the actual work that you're doing, you can make money. That's the bottom line. You're able to make money. So working on the farms, you see what we're doing on the farms, how effective the work is, what our margins are, and what you can do for yourself when you leave here. Because we have had, let's say for example, you mentioned the GSA Foods. When they started, that facility wasn't doing that volume of production. Most of the agro-process stuff was being used in the cafeteria for students. But we have moved to a different level. We've decided to register the brand and to go out there to show that what we can do. So the students, what the school can do and what they can do as students when they leave here. Because while you're here in the agro-processing program, because we have a 1-year program doing agro-processing, you have the opportunity to develop your own products. At least one, which you can develop, and you get help from our tutors here. You do all the shelf life tests, all the research, so that when you leave here, you go back home, you can do that as your own little business. You can get a full-time job, and you can do that on the side to make an initial income. So that facility plays a very important role, not only in terms of training, but in terms of empowering the students to be able to develop their own livelihood. Now it's the whole process in terms of integration. The farms produce, both farms produce. You have the livestock farms producing the eggs, milk, meat, supplies the cafeteria. The produce from the crop farm is supplied to the cafeteria also. So in a horizontal level, you have use the products are being used. And on a vertical level, you also have some of those same stuff going to the agro-processing unit to be processed. You add value. Also, crop farms, the excess produce, we market. Some we process. The livestock farm, they have a regular market for broilers, for eggs, for pork. So all those activities, show the students what can be done, what they can do.
Across at the agro-processing facility in the compound of the GSA campus at Mon Repos, I met Miss Stacy MacDonald, the assistant manager for the facility. She has seen what was intended as just a practical training facility for students evolve into a brand that is recognized across the country, GSA Foods, a line of agro-processed foods that are now in great demand.
Well, over the years, the Guyana School of Agriculture, we've been teaching agro-processing to the students from different locations. So from that, we would have choose some products, some of the best, and we would have started marketing those products due to the students' practical over the years. So that is how the Guyana School of Agriculture agro-processing facility has evolved from different experiments that we would have conducted with the students over the years.
All right, so in what year you decided to register it and have it become a business?
In 2012, we would have registered our brand, GSA Foods, and we would have started marketing to the various supermarkets across the country.
What were you marketing in those early days?
At that time, we were marketing the porridge mix only, and now we have branched off into extend the product line by producing the breadfruit flour and the different individual flours, the plantain flours, the banana flours, and so forth.
So apart from the flour and porridge mixes and so on, what are some of the other products produced by
Some of the
GSA?
other products that we produce are condiments, which we do at a small scale. We do barbecue sauce, which is made from golden apple. We also do preserved caramola. We also do green season, pepper sauce. And those products we mainly do during the Christmas season.
All the products produced by GSA Foods are available at supermarkets across the country and is promoted through the Guyana Shop, which has established distribution outlets for locally produced foods and products at established supermarkets in almost every region of the country. Many of the students who did the one-year agro-processing course have gone on to have agro-processing businesses of their own. I spoke with two former students, one of whom is currently earning from her venture.
My name is Stelshine Griffiths. I am a past student of GSA doing the agro-processing course. I lived in Tocqueville. How I benefit from this course, I now have a business, a functioning business, which is Shines Agri Manufacturing. At GSA, I created a product which was the sweet potato cake mix. It's now on the shelf of Bounty and the Guyana Shop. This year, I'm planning on expanding the line using other agriculture produce to create new products.
I attended Guyana School of Agriculture during 2018 to 2019. During the period in Guyana School of Agriculture, I made a product with the ingredients of sweet potato, callaloo, and black-eyed peas. And the name of this product is Instant Baby Food. While at GSA, it was a bit challenging, but I overcame it with the help of my colleagues because they were there to comfort me. Now that I've completed GSA, I'll be working on my product to perfect it and to put it in the market, hopefully worldwide.
As part of its ever-expanding role, the GSA is now offering its agro-processing courses to members of the public interested in learning all about agro-processing.
Now, apart from the one-year program that we have, we also run short programs short training programs in product development for other persons like farmers, small agro processors who are out there for small fee. so that they can come in here and they can hone their skills. So when they improve their products and they can go back out there and sell, offer better product of a higher quality to the consumer.
As a former student of the Guyana School of Agriculture, or what we will commonly call GSA, I can say here today that it has been an institution that has contributed significantly to who I am today, to my work that I do. The courses offered at the Guyana School of Agriculture is a wide dimension. Many of my colleagues that were with me there today are in different sectors of work, so not only in agriculture, but some are in the oil and gas, some are in the industrial sector. That is because of how the curriculum was designed or is designed. I recalled in my days the theoretical knowledge gained in the various courses. Rural sociology, I do remember rural sociology and farm management gives us that practical knowledge as to when we learn this stuff in the classroom, we had to go out to the fields in the world of work and actually communicate with farmers, communicate with the masses, and trying to get those messages that we would have learned in the classroom out to them. That's where the whole idea of sharing what we would have learned in the classroom and putting that practical into the actual world of work in the fields. I'm proud to say that my days at GSA today, I still carry some of the good knowledge that I wrote in there, and that has today helped me tremendously in actually performing very efficiently and effectively on the job that I am doing here. I would also recommend for students who are now entering the schools to take GSA as a stepping stone. You can go into, as I indicated, you can go into business of any sector that you want, not only in agriculture, but you can even go to further your studies at the University of Guyana or any sector, any university in developing in agriculture or any discipline of your choice. So, in finally, I just want to say that GSA has been the alma mater, the backbone of my profession. My knowledge came from there, and I would strongly recommend any persons, if they want a future in agriculture, the best place to start is at the Guyana School of Agriculture.
Well, that's all the time we have on this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. Until next time then, be good to yourselves and to each other.